Hi everyone, this is me. So did you like my clickbait title? So it's a bit of an exaggeration to say that fangirling saved my life, but I would say that it's made a huge difference in my life, and that's the subject of my video today. Maybe about 10 years ago, I heard about some of my, aunts or distant relatives who had suddenly caught on to Korean dramas and were totally obsessed with Korean men. I really was one of those judgy people who was like, oh, that's so weird, why would you do that? So it's come to bite me in the backside in a really big way because I have fallen into fangirling in a major way. So I don't really talk about my fangirling to my friends in real life, partly because it's not something that we have in common, and I don't really think they understand or are interested, and why should they be? Because I enjoy fangirling so much, I don't feel the need to explain myself or share it with others who might think I'm not interested, because in a way I don't really want them to burst my bubble. Well, I have a very good friend whom I love very dearly, but when she saw, like a Weibo picture on my phone, she made a comment that showed me that she had the usual typical reaction to fangirling, which is that, why are you wasting your time? It's so silly, it's very immature. So I haven't brought it up again. Initially, when I fell into fangirling, I was a little bit concerned about what the people in my real life would think about me, my family, my friends, and my colleagues, because fangirling is not really seen as a respectable hobby, right? The image we have is of girls screaming and crying and throwing themselves at the feet of idols, usually actors or boy band members. And when some of my friends were talking in general about fangirling, someone else mentioned that another friend of ours was going through their second childhood. And of course, this was not meant in a complimentary way. So the Oxford Dictionary actually defines a second childhood as a period in someone's adult life when they act as a child, either for fun or as a consequence of reduced mental capabilities. Now that's quite a stigma to pin on us poor senior fangirls, but I have come to accept my fangirling, and if I am outed and discovered, I don't really care that much. And I have taken as one of my guiding principles that I should do what makes me happy as long as I don't harm anyone. And if someone disapproves of what I do, then that really is their business, and I can't lead my life just based on what other people think of me, because I've done that for 50 years and that's plenty enough. So the reputation that fangirls have in the media is generally negative, especially with K-pop and now C-pop. You have a lot of the sasaengs, the obsessive fans who really intrude into their idol's personal space to the extreme. But this again is an overgeneralization, because there are so many other fangirls and fanboys and fan people out there who just love something with all their hearts and are minding their own business and having a good time. Now, because I was struggling with my newfound fangirlness, I decided to do some research into the phenomenon of fangirls, and I came across a YouTube video which I found really interesting. This was a TED talk given by Australian playwright Yve Blake, and I think her talk was called For the Love of Fangirls, or Why Fangirls Are Scary. It's really worth a watch. She makes some really good points. And one of the things that she said that struck me the most was that fangirls have what she calls a superpower, which is that they know how to love something without apology or fear. And I thought that had so much relevance to us, not just in terms of fangirling, but in terms of anything that we do. Because as adults, we have become so accustomed to being socialized by society and even by ourselves, according to what kind of roles we should play, what our responsibilities are, and what everybody else's expectations are. And I think particularly as a woman, I have spent my whole life trying to be, the perfect daughter, the perfect girlfriend, the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect office worker, the perfect everything. And in the end, I wouldn't say that I was desperately unhappy, but there were aspects of my life that I felt I was losing more and more control over, as if everything was being dictated by what others wanted. So this is the start of my therapy session. So a few years ago, I went through a very bad period, and I also came to the realization that I needed to make time for myself. It's a very commonly known thing that many of us don't pay attention to enough, which is that if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else around you. So I realized that I really needed to do something on my own and have time on my own. And I'm very lucky that my husband and my family are very understanding that way, and it has never been an issue. As I was trying to find my way out of this dark period in my life, it happened to coincide with my finding the James Jirayu fandom, and by accident I got sucked right into the middle of the fandom and became sort of one of the better known English speaking fans in that fandom. I was having so much fun. I found that this was something that was purely my own. I didn't share it with anybody else, and it brought me such great joy, and it had nothing to do with my real life in the slightest. I can't begin to explain how freeing that is to have a bunch of friends who don't really expect anything of each other, but who enjoy the same content, and that was what brought us together. And of course, over time we got to know each other a lot better, so they've become pretty good friends of mine. I've also got some online friends whom I've met because we love the same content, you know, books or movies or the same actor. It's very different, of course, from your in real life face-to-face friendships. But I think I have space enough in my life to have relationships and friendships of many types, and they all fill various parts of my heart and my soul, and they all make me very happy. Of course, there are dangers to making friends online, but there are also dangers to making friends in real life. So the normal precautions and human instincts must come into play, and you do have to listen to the inner voice when it tells you that there's danger heading for you. Then you really need to disengage and get out of there quickly. Fangirling has also been wonderful for my relationship with my daughter. I understand so much better what it's like to really be very crazy about a particular celebrity, and I don't judge her for it, and we have a great time talking about the people she likes and the people that I like. In her case, it's a lot of different people that change over time, and for me it's really been only James and Wang Yibo. But the principle of the fangirling is the same, and I think the feeling is the same. So when she saves up her money to buy merch, I absolutely understand, and I don't judge her because I do it myself. Some parents would not approve of this and say that I should be more of an adult and teach her. But I do teach her to be responsible with her money. But if she earns her money to buy something she really wants, how is that not a good life lesson? I also have a great time talking to my daughter and her friends about various aspects of being a fangirl, and I think it surprised them at first that they could have very frank conversations with me about the content that they were watching, because I didn't judge them and I trusted them to process the content. Very often they would give me a point of view that showed me they had thought it through. So there's no need for me to get all preachy and mom-like to teach them the lesson, because they learnt it themselves, which is how most of us learned about life, through books and movies and things like that when we were growing up. They are just doing it with a lot more internet content. Maybe now it's a lot more racy, but this is the world they live in and they have to learn how to deal with it. At least I still have this channel with my daughter and her friends to talk about issues that are maybe a little more uncomfortable, a little more sexual, and not so clean and tidy. So they recommend books and movies, and a new area that I have recently got into, which is anime and manga, which I'm really enjoying. Now, fangirling has also surprisingly increased my creativity. I learned how to do translations and subtitles for James Jirayu dramas. I know how to film videos and edit videos and use all kinds of things to create content, and I did that all for fun, for my fangirl pursuits. But I found that that has come in useful in work, because I can bring a lot of this knowledge to my team in terms of content creation, and that has really been a surprise to me and to them, because sometimes I know more than them what's happening on all these social media platforms because I'm on them all the time because of fangirling. I might have been like many parents who say, oh, social media is a waste of time and bad for you. But again, it's an undeniable reality. So I'd rather know about it so that I know how to advise my children. But at the same time, I really enjoy it. So I also know the benefits that it brings. So my final message after that very long explanation justifying my fangirling is that fangirling brings me unadulterated joy. It has brought me into areas far beyond staring at the gorgeous faces of James Jirayu and Wang Yibo. I learned Thai, my Chinese is getting better, I'm starting to read novels in Chinese which are unbelievable before. I've discovered new genres, new content, new people, new places, new subjects. It's just been a wonderful rabbit hole, and my safe haven. I think I'm much happier overall because my mind is occupied by so many fun things in addition to my regular responsibilities. And I think this shows in many ways, including the way I look, because some of you have commented that I look very young for my age. A lot of it has to do with genes, but it most definitely has to do with being happy and content with myself. Even my husband says that when I was not in a good place, I looked really worn out. So fangirling is the best Botox you can ever get. So I'll end on that very nonsensical and bimbo note. If you enjoyed my video, please click like and consider subscribing. Till next time, take care and stay safe everyone. Bye!